Hello, everyone. I'm Rajiv from Numbers. Welcome to another edition of Numbers Wise, a series of posts, articles, and sessions, of course, on business and finance. We try to make it a point that in this series, we learn a lot from the business leaders that we interact and engage with, leaders belonging to specific industries, where they have seen some challenges, have had some battle scars, and have won over a lot of difficulties to be counted amongst a few. In this edition, we are in conversation with Mr. Mohammad Ejaz, Director of East West Freight Carriers. Welcome, Ejaz, and thanks for taking this time out.
Thank you,
Uh,
Rajiv. It's great to be here.
Wonderful, and I really hope that your family and teams are keeping safe.
Oh, everybody's safe. So far, so good. Yeah.
Great, wonderful.
Thank
Good
you.
to hear
Thank you.
that.
Thank you.
Before we start picking Ejaz's brains, let me quickly give you a small introduction of his. So, East West Freight Carriers Limited, they are leaders in global freight and trade services. They essentially provide services that straddle the entire logistics value chain, of course, domestic and international operations. Ejaz is a director at East West. He's one of the founding members, of course, but he wears multiple hats, which range from managing the business development of the group. He leads all India operations apart from the structuring of the business. Ejaz also wears a strategy hat for East West, and he's closely involved with some of the tech initiatives. Ejaz is a member of ACAI, the Air Cargo Agents Association of India, and is also a member of Air Cargo Club of Bombay. When he's not working, his interests are fairly eclectic. They vary from food, fishing, traveling, and driving, and he's very passionate about his cars. And that collection of cars also includes some of the vintage ones. Jazz is a graduate in business administration and an alumnus of Waldorf University at Iowa, United States. Ajaz, I hope I have done justice to your introduction.
More than enough. I haven't heard such good words in a long time. Thank you so much.
With that out of the way, Ajaz, let's quickly dive into the discussion with you. Well, we usually talk about the professional impact of this downturn or COVID-19. But this time, let me start asking you about how it has impacted you personally. I mean, how is it that you, as an individual, as a leader, as a team member, maybe including your family, how are you coping with this over the past few months?
Well, to put it into perspective, the initial setback was quite challenging. I think for most of us, and these were challenging times. It was unprecedented. It was quite difficult to understand in order how to gear or steer your business forward, keeping the human aspect in consideration. Having said that, being overcoming the few days of the lockdown, it kind of settled in that this is going to be a way of life, at least for the near future. And then it was time to direct your attention and energies towards something more concrete. The first thing that came to my mind was naturally to think about, to introspect. This introspection was to create a positive impact personally as well as professionally. There was a lot of realization that also dawned upon me, and I'm sure that every individual must have gone through this particular phase. Our particular role and the way we were conducting ourselves in the corporate world, away from our families. Having said that, there were certain days which were allotted to the families, maybe so over so a weekend or so. But that realization has come in, and the importance of relationships has come across. Another big realization was the power of nature to heal itself. So yes, this also led me to think that the way the world was conducting itself, globalization, with constant progress and a very demanding environment. I think apart from the pandemic and the loss of lives, which is of course a very sad situation that everybody has seen. I think the good things that have come out of this is that nature has the ability to heal itself, and also relationships do matter primarily, and that should be the key focus, and that should be the key driving focus conducting your sales?
That's all very insightful. In fact, I was expecting more from a perspective of what we hear usually. But this introspection and figuring out how you can get out of that denial mode and start actioning towards creating a positive impact, I think that will help you take better actions faster. I mean, let's just forget COVID for a little while, at least for this question.
Sure.
Being a business leader, and especially the one who interacts with a lot of your peer groups within the logistics sector, etc. What are your thoughts on how big is this logistics sector going to play for India with our the vision of achieving a $5 trillion economy and so on? How does logistics fit into this tab across the board? What are your thoughts?
I think logistics has always played a very crucial role in sort of being the anchor to the supply and demand, comparison probabilities that are there. And if you see now as an individual independent industry, it's been according to the industry status now. It's quite a big, large contributor to the Indian economy. If I'm not mistaken, it should be close to about 14 or 15%. However, this is a very fragmented industry. You have multiple agencies that you have to deal with. I'm speaking in perspective of an exporter or a distributor. There are quite a lot of agencies that one has to deal with. So a lot of fragmentation has been there in this industry, which is sort of coming together now. And we're seeing that a lot of the agencies are involved in multiple activities, which is a good thing for the trade overall. Having said that, being a large contributor, the Indian economy is poised to grow. It's a very large economy. We're in the top 5 globally. We've already crossed the halfway mark to achieve the $5 trillion dollar economy. That's just the spread of the size of the country will put logistics in a very, very commanding position in the days to come. And there is also a lot of development coming in from the government sector as well. We're seeing a tremendous amount of infrastructure scale up that is happening for surface, railways, ports, and airports. So this definitely will put the logistics industry in a very strong position.
That's a very optimistic insight. More importantly, while we are going through this
Correct.
This rut, but having said that, I think essential services would not have remained essential had logistics not played its part. In that sense, I think we very strongly believe that logistics is part of the first responders. All the last mile delivery is through somebody like you helping all of us citizens out.
Yeah, so our business being mainly focused towards the international trade as such, it does have certain connections to the local last mile deliveries as well. We've seen the rebounding of the business. April, in a sense, was a new chapter for everybody. So there's not a lot of business happening in that particular month. But May onwards, if you see the rebounding, I think logistics is one of the industries which is up there. Who's actually contributed towards sustaining employment as well as ensuring the essentials that are delivered across the country, globally in fact as well.
True, absolutely.
So I think during lockdown, only the initial days, I think the frequencies of vessels and airlines was down to its minimum, but we did see a lot of movements of pharmaceuticals as well as perishable items.
So just to pick this strain of thought that you spoke about. Across its business models, transportation, 3PL, 4PL, I mean, you have the entire value chain of logistics. You mentioned April being a better month and May, things start picking up and so on. But overall, do you see that it's specific to certain business models, or what overall has been an impact on the entire value chain? And more important thing, that things will start becoming normal to the stage that they were before COVID hit us.
See, before COVID, of course, we were going through a global economic recessionary period. So everybody sort of, did not expect the COVID challenge to come across, but we were, of course, in the phase of acceptance that this is a recessionary phase and things are not going to look up or positive in the foreseeable near future as such. COVID had a double impact. But when I mentioned April, of course, was a zero business month for many industries. May is when we started rebounding. I can say to the effect of, when we've seen our rebounding rate, we've been up to about 150% on an upward swing
Whoa.
since May onwards. Now, this affair, this also has to do in terms of the capacity being offered and the rate levels that are being offered. The volumes have been affected negatively. So, if we have to see an increased trade volume pick up, I won't be able to put an exact date across, but looking at the uh, unlockdown phase that is happening across the country, I think the economy, is looking well
Mhm.
in terms of just your essential goods, your day-to-day groceries, certain electronic goods. These are showing some very positive and promising signs. So having that as a example, I'm very positive that the economy will shape up and rebound at a much better rate. Although a little support in terms of quantitative easing of cash flow will be required from the government to be able to achieve that growth rate. Always believe that the population of our country is the greatest asset, one of the greatest assets that we have.
That would you say that even the players who have mostly domestic operations, are they also seeing a rebound in this period after a few or few months?
I
Or
would say, sorry, Ajay, I would say they're in a much better position than the international freight operators because
Mhm.
domestic transportation and deliveries, of pharmaceutical items mainly and your FMCG goods did have a little bit of an impact initially. But I talked to some of my industry colleagues, and there were some weeks that people could not make it home. They were busy at work. This also gave a lot of confidence to us. So I mean, it's a positive sign. Majority of the industries have suffered, are still suffering, but certain industries, keeping the scale of the industry and the size of a country, have shown tremendous progress.
Very positive to hear that. And how do you see this coming out? I mean, U, V, W, what is your take on when do we come back to being normal? I mean, logistics specifically, but in general as a whole.
I mean, if there's a little bit of push in terms of easing the labor issues and infusing cash into the economy, I think India overall, along with all its industries, is in a much better position to rebound back. Of course, we could be industry leaders globally, taking advantage of this situation. In terms of pharmaceutical manufacture, in terms of FMCG goods, in terms of electronics, there's been a great push by the government. So the rebounding factor, I'm pretty confident that it should be much better than many other countries. Having said that, of course, the government, should focus on the labor issues to be resolved as well as infusing and easing cash flow requirements.
Uh, let's switch gears a little, Ejaz. The core of the business that you're and one of the key things that organizations across industries are doing is in focusing on conserving cash or making it last more for a longer time, deploying it more efficiently. According to you, should be an ideal playbook for players within the logistics industries when they are trying to acquire or expand or better their operation, sell more, collect quickly, what tweaks, and so on.
Well, that is the basics of any trade that is conducted across the industry. Logistics industry, however, is suffering from low margins with extensive credit periods. And this I specifically speak on behalf of the brethren of the medium and small, the micro, small and medium enterprises. The challenges that we faced was the outstandings are spread across quite a number of days. To be able to manage that with your ever increasing client list becomes a tremendous amount of challenging. You tend to focus on the few clients that do pay regularly but that do not make up the entire spectrum. So a lot of the clients uh, with say smaller outstandings or with larger outstandings with much larger days do get away uh, you know with extended days. This does cost. In effect, what happens is it's a domino effect. The longer the credit period, the more the company has to borrow, and then increases the cost. Having said that, the cycle is limited to X number of days, which is acceptable, mutually acceptable to both the parties, I think the logistics cost would also come down tremendously. At the moment, the logistics cost in our country is one of the highest in the world. And that is quite challenging. And if we see ourselves as really dominant global players, we need to be able to achieve a much lower logistics cost to the distribution of our products. So these challenges have come across, and when the pandemic started, this was one of the questions or one of the challenges that we did emphasize on. We did refocus on our collection mechanisms and to be able to streamline our cash flows. So we did involve ourselves. In fact, due to the low volumes and having a bit of time on hands, we did involve quite a number of our management team members in engaging with the clients and to be able to explain the scenario. Not to be demanding as such, but I think these efforts did pay off. We've seen a majority of the clientele work on advanced basis as we speak, and it started from the pandemic situation. But this is going to be very short-lived. As the unlock happens and once day-to-day routine sets in, normal course of business will prevail. There will be that X amount of credit which is extended due to competition as well. But to be able to understand and to be able to help the industry stand on its own feet, the credit period will have to be cut short.
Mhm.
And I speak with confidence because when the pandemic started and when this idea was proposed to a lot of the clients, we did see a positive response and positive action. Having said that, yeah, cash flow being one of the the most important component. I mean, the more cash you have in hand, the more sensibly you can deploy this for growth, for technological advancement. Overall.
So it's
Correct.
one way to manage short-term challenges.
Correct.
But I'm sure that it will also put a lot of pressure on the type of services that you provide, because now that I'm giving you an advance, you better give me service levels which are exemplary, much better than what you were doing before. Is that not the case with you? Did that put pressure on your operations also?
Not really. We face challenges, with the shortfall of labor across the country. So we were managing these challenges, with of course there was an additional cost to it. But our clients, did have very high expectations before the COVID situation, and it continued so. There was no added pressure, and a lot of the clients did understand that this is a pan-India issue, and they did comply. We did get a lot of support from the clients as well.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So tweaks in terms of getting your team members to invest more in relationships, trying to get your perspective to the clients, and getting them on board in terms of how to manage challenges in a more mutually agreed ways.
Correct.
And making sure that you have the visibility to even the last mile, those smallest of customers, as how much are they paying and how much they are not paying, which would have earlier been swept under the carpet.
Correct.
That's
Absolutely
what I understand. I think if logistics companies themselves are able to bring these efficiencies, I'm sure that they'll pass on this cost to the customers also.
That's what the industry is, actually working towards. We're seeing the manufacturing sector scale up. So I think it's only a matter of time, where we reach the economies of scale in terms of the cost benefits as well.
Super. Now, one of the other tweaks, Ajaz, and knowing how you guys are operating and being associated with you for a little while, is deciding to invest on technologies. And now, whether it is streamlining the existing ones or evaluating newer ones, um, the question is, what's your motivation has been to evaluate this specifically during this period, and how do you see this helping you withstand the changes and the pressures that this economic situation has posed upon?
I mean, like I mentioned earlier, this is the industry is a very fragmented industry. You have various service levels going across, and we've always been dedicated towards technology right since the beginning. But this is something that the industry suffers from. There is not one central platform that can effectively address your issues. Having said that, if you want to be in the middle, say a company like us, we're dealing with surface transportation companies, we're dealing with customs brokerage agencies, airlines, shipping lines, as well as the clients. So a centralized ERP solution is the need of the hour. We do have service providers and solutions which are very vertical focused. You know, to overcome that challenge, we've always been through a very trial and error phase to be able to bridge this gap and sort of bring everybody together on a single platform to be able to communicate effectively. We have been able to achieve this to quite an extent. The one aspect that we were lagging behind was our accounts receivables. You do have your standardized solutions which will effectively run your accounting package, but there was never a focus in terms of the outstanding collections. We've got a team in place, which looks into the day-to-day collection processes. It's a fairly large team. It's not the core business of a logistics company,
Yeah.
but we had to venture out into this in order to maintain and effectively handle our cash flow.
Mhm.
So the AR solution integration has helped us tremendously in order to identify and address issues as compared to focusing on your good paymasters only.
Yeah.
So it's sort of spread the focus to each and everybody that owes money to your establishment. So this has been the one majority contributor in terms of addressing everybody on an equal platform when it comes to overdue days.
Mhm.
So I think once that's put into perspective and one that put into regular usage, the cash flow challenges of a lot of the companies can be overcome efficiently.
And I'm sure that you will also be heralding um, more number of evaluations like this, or especially pointing out to some of those latent areas within the entire value chain that usually come up only when there is a dire need. AR being one of them. I mean, collections is something that businesses exist to collect. I mean, at the end of the day, they'll cease existing if they're not able to extract the value that they're providing to the customers.
Very true.
And somewhere down the line, because the attitude is we've been there, done that, and hence a vision like yours is critical to people evaluating and then including maybe improving the processes, get the teams up to scratch to understand how to better manage those customers and so on. So I think that vision is what we have seen across the board, across all our implementation is driven by management, but where the management has also convinced the teams to go that way, you definitely will be able to see a lot of benefits coming along. Um, Switching gears a little, Ajaz, talking about the teams and managing those teams as a leader, and it takes also a toll on you as a human being to go through certain personal challenges on your own and then also manage the teams and making sure that they are motivated enough, especially when they themselves are going through their own set of troubles at their places. How do you keep them motivated in these uncertain times where they don't know what's going to happen tomorrow?
For that primarily, I thank my team for it. We've been a very cohesive team right since the beginning. We have a very decentralized way of functioning, where every team head or a department head is given, free decision-making skills and authority. Uh, when the lockdown started, it was a challenge for everybody, and we gave it enough time for everybody to accept the order of the day or the situation, if I have to put it into perspective. And once that came about, we got away with online meetings. We did not follow the routine, we did not follow the pattern or the industry standard what everybody was doing. It was just phone calls that we communicated with. The assurance from the company was always there that we will continue with the team and we will survive the storm because we're all in it together.
Mhm.
So I think it gave everybody enough time to be able to settle with the pandemic issues, to be able to understand the new work-life culture. With that I mean the work from home culture. Everybody had to make a lot of compromises to be able to adjust to the new routine. And, we just let them be. So at the same time, we did consider the responsibility to be on the individual's head to perform
Mhm.
with whatever we have in hand right now. So all the long-term goals, of course, have been put on the back burner, but it was the short-term goals that needed realignment.
Mhm.
So with that flexibility, I think the people have performed. We've seen tremendous amount. I think when the passes were being issued, I was quite surprised to see that members did apply for the passes and made it to the workplaces, in spite of no expectation to actually make it to the office. We need to be able to provide an environment where self-realization should be prime. So that has really helped.
Focus has been now, but taking people,
Correct.
helping them contemplate, helping them take pride in what they are doing is something that you're giving on an ongoing basis.
Yeah, it's been right since the beginning. This has been a practice and this has been a culture that we inculcate, amongst all our management heads. And this is a time where it actually, we actually felt that the efforts were not in vain. We actually see individuals step up to the occasion and perform.
Absolutely, and especially with I think about 250 odd people that today work for you.
Yeah, we're a little over 250 odd people.
Good set of thoughts, Ajay. And I'm sure that the success right now and even going forward will be defined by the teams uh, as as and when they work towards getting the business back on track and maybe expand it in the ways that your vision talks about. Thanks a lot for that. Um, just last couple of questions before I get out of here.
Perfect. Perfect.
One of them is what will change after the dust settles uh, during this uncertain period? You spoke about the power of nature, the healing itself. But from your perspective, from where you stand, uh, what do you see the legacy being left once things become a little normal? The impact of this situation.
Well, I just hope that, first and foremost, we do find a solution through a vaccine for COVID. And then, whoever is in your immediate circle, comes out alive. Once that, is achieved, I feel what's really going to change, or what has already changed, is that we have come to accept the new norms in terms of working from home, in terms of expectations, and for the most part of it, I feel that human beings, are driven. We do want to perform, and it's not necessary for an individual to be in office or in your workspace environment to be able to deliver that 100%. It could happen from anywhere. That realization has come to a lot of people. It's only about how your team effectively responds to your policies. So I think this is going to be the new norm. It's not going to be expected for people to drop into work every day and sort of work on a fixed schedule, which is your 9 to 5 or your 10 to 6. It's going to be more about efficiencies and the results which are expected. If that is achieved with say 4 days of working from home and 1 days of outside calls, so be it. Apart from this, there's always been a realization, also been a realization in terms of technological advancement. A lot of the companies who are not up to the mark technologically may have realized by now that it does play a very important role in conducting day-to-day affairs. So technology should not be viewed even as a person who's using it or somebody who's trying to implement it as a threat, but technology should always be viewed as something that can derive human efficiencies to its maximum. This is only here to help us. There's no escape from it. So it might as well, we might as well accept this with open arms and try to make this the standard.
Superb. I mean, very nicely put, because I think Corona will surely create a legacy, and we just hope that that legacy is all positive.
Very
And
true.
I think that is kind of a wrap. But before we leave, Ejaz, as a young business leader within the logistics industries, what would be your 2 or 3 key takeaways or key things that you would advise your peers within the logistics industry that they shouldn't do, the mantras that they should think through, or what you might have learned in your journey in these past few years and months?
So I think the biggest takeaway from this should be that we are genetically coded to be survivors. Challenges do come across, but we should be mentally strong. Uh, that this is a day and these are times that will pass soon. In addition to this, also to have a human aspect towards our colleagues, our peers, and try to be able to survive this together. It's not the end of it all. if a business is not performing or not meeting its targets, you do have another day, another month, another year to be able to achieve it. As long as you're able to survive and function and effectively conduct your day-to-day affairs at work as well as home, I think these are the challenges that need to be overcome for now. Biggest takeaway should be the positive attitude and a human aspect towards our countrymen.
Lovely thoughts. Anything very specific to logistics?
Well, logistics wise, like I said, I've always been very positive about this. There has been a bit of slowdown. Like I said, if the government support does come in, this will be one of the industries that will rebound at a faster pace than the others.
Superb. I think that's a very positive note to end our conversation on, Ajaz. Thanks, Tan. Absolutely wonderful chatting with you.
Thank you so
And
much, Rajiv. Thank
hopefully,
you so much.
and hopefully, all of us will have some takeaways, and especially from the way that you've been steering your company during these times. And I do hope that we implement some of the more softer aspects that you spoke about around empathy, around contemplation, and creating a positive impact. We go forward.
Thank you so much. Just I just want to add a note and comment probably just to say we should use these challenges and the slowdown to gear ourselves up to come together and to be able to achieve this dream for the country. So I don't think the 5 trillion mark is far away, and
Yeah.
I certainly do not believe that it's impossible to do it.
Superb. I think
Yeah.
couldn't have had a better note to end this on. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
Azhar.
Thank you,
Great
Rajiv.
to
Thank you
talking
so
to
much.
you.
Take care. Nice talking to you.
Thanks.